It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. And we're coming to you live from CV Gitty. It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
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 It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gitty Gang Show. As you can see, we got Glenn Watt.
Hey.
Back in the co-pilot chair over here. If you tuned in last week, you know that Glenn had the week off because we had an Irish, what would you call it?
I don't even know.
A Kaylee, a Hooli, a session,
that sounds
whatever you want to call it. Had a great time. Want to thank the guys who stopped by, the people who stopped by. Kim Starling, of course, Tyler Foss, Patrick Boyle, the one and only. And then the special, extra special guests, the Dover Rovers, consisting of Mike Moan, Kevin McEnany, Dennis Duffy, and extra special guest, Mr. Digger Duffy, who I don't know if we mentioned, I think I did mention it once. He is the grave digger for the city of Dover. And I'll tell you what, after a couple of beers, he can tell some stories of wild, wacky times at the cemetery. So anyway, we want to thank you for joining us. Successfully made it through the High Holy season for those of us who celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Last Sunday, it was I had a heck of a time playing gigs. My voice was completely gone by Sunday evening, but I was pretty happy about it. What'd you do?
I don't know, nothing as exciting as that.
Well, we're going to be getting to this. Don't worry about that. You can see the instruments that we're holding are a little bit similar in appearance there. There's a reason for that, folks.
I'm excited for that.
So I see some of our good friends out there. Rob Robo. I tell you, Rob keeps posting these photos of these beautiful guitars he's building down there. Rob, I don't know how you do it, man. You just crank out so much beautiful, amazing work. What do you call it when you glue layers of thin wood together for the laminating?
Laminate.
Yeah, the laminating he's doing on his headstocks and heel stocks and beautiful. One of many builders out there just doing amazing work. I tell you what, I'm constantly inspired, and we're going to be seeing some photos here in a bit during Watt Corner, of course. No, it's not here yet. We've also got a lineup of photos featuring a group of products that are going on sale. They're on sale right now. If you got today's newsletter, I believe it was a Gitty newsletter, might have been a Nation newsletter. Anyway, Wicked Bucker Weekend. We are officially announcing that this weekend all of our Wicked Buckers and Wicked Bucker related products are on sale, 15% off. Now, you probably know, but in case you don't, our good buddy Marty Tauber, who I think is out there already, hand winds these Wicked Bucker pickups up there in Biddeford, Maine, and they're amazing. They sound great. We're putting them on sale, but we also got a couple of new things. We've got the DIY Wicked Bucker harness kit that Glenn has helped put together, create the guide for. Or did I do the guide?
I think you did.
There's so much going. I can't even keep track of who's done what. But so you can wire up a full harness for a Wicked Bucker with volume, tone, matching pots, the capacitor chosen specifically to work well with those pickups. If you don't like wiring, if you don't have a solder gun and never want to own one, that's fine. Yeah. Just yesterday, we listed the fully pre-wired Wicked Bucker harness. No soldering required, thanks to innovative press fit connectors.
Yes.
It's cool stuff. So all of that on sale on cbgitty.com all weekend long. 15% off. You know, these days, we all know, you can get pretty much anything wicked cheap from China, from overseas, whatever. These pickups, hand wound by somebody that you know.
Right.
Somebody whose name you've seen, who is an active, vibrant member of the Cigar Box guitar community, organizing a festival up there in Maine, for God's sake. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Wound by Marty, we wire up, do all the soldering and such here. American-made, handmade pickups, made by people you know and like, hopefully. Designed for you. There's something special in that. A lot of people talk the talk, you know, buy American, made in the USA, and then all they go to Alibaba and oh well, it's only $1.50, might as well get, you know, putting your money where your mouth is and supporting American-made products. There's a value to that. Who else we got out there?
We got Dave Gatton. What's going
Dave
on, big
Gatton.
guy? We got Bill McNamara. Good to see you. Marty,
Bill.
of course. Rick Flink. Henry Lohman. Henry.
Phil
By. I think I saw Shaq area, Shaq Collins. And I think there's a bunch. Fred Kuntz. Everybody's out there. I think I can't expand his comment, but I may be under the impression that Matthew Simpson, Magic Daddy's birthday is today. Say, what? If so...
Oh no, it's his little girl's third birthday.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Sorry. Well, still, happy birthday to her, too. I feel like... Nice. There we go.
Where do I go?
Come on now. Get some. Happy birthday.
Boy, hadn't practiced that. 4-string, folks. I'm still getting used to them. We'll be talking about that a little bit more later. So, the Wicked Bucker weekend sale is on right now. You get on there. You don't need a coupon code or anything. You add them to your shopping cart on cbgitty.com, and when you check out, you will see the discount show up there as if by magic. That is in addition to the other March markdowns we've had going all months. New lower pricing on some of our most popular items. So, yeah, good stuff happening.
I dig it. What else you got out there?
So, to back up this Wicked Bucker promotion, maybe you don't know about them. We, unfortunately, don't have... Hey, Nick's got... Can we show that? I don't know.
Can you show?
Top secret prototype. Well, yeah, bring it over, Nick.
Well, I did the backing track on that too.
Yeah, that's true. So, we got a Wicked Bucker mounted on this handy little dealio here that Farley put together a while back. You can see this is the Wicked Bucker right here. It's a surface mount pickup made for mounting right on top of the cigar box or right on the soundboard of the instrument. You drill a little hole for the, well, of course in this one there was some routing required, but on a cigar box you drill a little hole, push those wires down through there, 4 screws to mount it to the top, and you're connected to a jack, and you're good to go.
Bada
So,
bing.
bada book. Bada book, bada bit. Wait,
There it is.
Yeah,
I'm
they're-
repeating other people's slogans on the show.
The Wicked Buckers were selling out so fast for so long. We really hadn't built too many. Farley built a couple, but that pickup sounds amazing.
Yeah.
How's this thing tuned?
It's a high
Chicago
floor
tenor.
DGBE.
So they, no buzz. They've got great sound, great tone. Of course, with any electric pickup, a lot of it depends on the amp you're using. I've got it plugged into this little modeling amp over here. I had it cranked up earlier, and actually Nick recorded the backing track that you're going to hear on one of the videos we share here in a moment using this. It's a really cool pickup. So anyway, the first video we've got is a demo that Shane Spiel had filmed a while back. Actually, right around the time we first started working with Marty to get these Wicked Buckers out into the world. So we're going to show the video from Shane and then go right into a montage that Nick has put together and recorded the backing track for, showing builds that customers, that folks like you have done using these Wicked Bucker pickups. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Take a look. just a few great examples of what can be done with these pickups. Extremely versatile, sound great, as you guys have been saying out there, easy to install, just a great thing. And so they're on sale. So if you've been thinking about it, maybe you weren't thinking about it, but now you are, it's a good time to do it. Through Sunday!
Yes, sir.
Now, every time we do a sale that has a definite end date and time, for example, 11:59 Sunday night, I'd like to point out that's Eastern Time, U.S. Eastern Time. Seems like every time Nick gets an email from somebody who's there checking out at 11:58, and oh, the discount didn't apply, and oh, mad. Like, come on. That last one, we had a sale up for a month, an entire month.
2 weeks
Somebody
later.
checking out at 11:58. All right, so let's talk briefly about 4-string guitars. If you saw this week's newsletter, for the CB Gitty newsletter that went out yesterday, you know I've been very focused lately on 4-string cigar box guitars, specifically the Open G tuning. What I consider, you know, there's a bunch of different 4-string tunings. I call this the cigar box guitar 4-string tuning. It is Open G, G, D, G, B. Now I know people have strong preferences. I see Carl Heinzlau out there. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. People have strong preferences when it comes to tunings. People like different tunings. I know Shane has done videos on a whole slew of 3- and 4-string tunings. Well, G, D, G, B, which is what this is tuned to. There it is. Open G chord. That's what I've been working on, learning to play myself. I had never really, you know, people over the years, anytime we release a resource for 3-string, what's the first question they ask, Glenn? What? Or there's always at least a couple who...
Well, they lead with something nice, which is that's great.
That's great.
But what about 4-strings?
What about 4-string? When are you going to do 4-strings? Like, never had a good answer to that because I personally have never been all that familiar with or comfortable with 4-string. And you don't do a lot of 4-string play, and we just kind of settled on 3-string here as the standard and have run with it for years now. Well, the time has come.
Well, right, and you've had some bandwidth open up just a little bit, just enough to allow
Just
something
enough.
else in it, right?
Yeah. Well, Glenn, Glenn kind of went the other direction. He went down to 2 strings with the bass there and just been rocking it. Well, I've decided it's time to learn to dive headfirst into 4-string. And as part of that, well, I mean, what you see right here is a build Glenn finished yesterday. I'll get the ankle right.
There we go.
Available very soon. Hopefully next week we'll be able to roll it out. What we're calling the Tupelo Tenor. 4-string, 23-inch scale length. Acoustic electric. Got a pickup in there. But also sounds great acoustically. A little bit of reverb on there, but tuned is going to come with strings for Open G, G, D, G, B tuning. So to support that, I decided, Shane says that G, D, G, B is his favorite 4-string tuning. That's cool, or his preferred, you might say. To support that, I'm like, well, I better create some resources to go along with as I learn and become familiar with 4-string. Other people are going to want some stuff too. So the first thing I set out doing was working out the chord forms. So we've got a poster available now of the essential 4-string cigar box guitar chord forms. And I've got one of these on my desk. I'm using it. It shows you all the 1-finger chords, what you're playing where on the neck as you move up the fretboard. And then what Shane likes to call the lush chords, or the fingered chords, which are kind of like 6-string guitar chords except for 4-string, where you put your fingers to hit a G7 or a D or a C or an F, to hit all those different chords when you're playing. Because of course most of us, like say we go to a jam session or we're picking on the back porch or whatever, playing in church, you're usually strumming chords, aren't you? While you or somebody else is singing, you know. Can't think of the song right now. That's all right. So strumming the chords, very important. So that's the first thing I got into. And then, of course, next is taking some of my 3-string tablature, converting, I say converting, reworking it into 4-string so that we can get a 4-string tablature songbook out on the market. That also is coming soon. I've finished up the 6th song last night. There'll probably be about 30 songs in the first edition, so I got a few to go. And one of the things I realized, well, before I get into that, I got myself a little outline here of points to cover. And I'm going to play a song partway through, so it's not just all talking, so you can hold off on the shut up and play something encouragements, hopefully. First, you might ask why. Why would you bother with 4-string? If 3-string is easier to play, and in my opinion, it can be, why would you bother with 4-string? Take a stab at it. Why would you bother with 4-string instead of 3?
Because it offers a larger voice, more range and pitches and tones.
Yeah. There's more you can do with it that you just can't really do on a 3-string very easily. It is more complex. In some ways, adding that 4th string does add some complexity, more than a 3-string would have. But with that complexity comes ability. Ability to make sounds and play things in a way that you can't on a 3-string. So if you just want to strum and pick and have a good time and you're not worried about expanding your musical repertoire, and that's fine. If that 3-string, stick with 3-string, no problem. But if you want to try to push the envelope a little, maybe branch out a little bit, try some different things, 4-string tuning lets you do that. It can be a bit more challenging beyond the 1-finger chords. 1-finger chords still work the same. You can still play a lot of songs by moving that index finger up and down the fretboard and fretting all 4 strings to play a chord. So that still works. As Shane mentioned, you can play chords on a 4-string that you just can't really effectively do on a 3. Because some chords, Glenn and I still discuss this point, some chords to fully play it require 4 different notes.
That's true.
And to
It's true.
now, I say you can't really play a minor 7th on a 3-string, and Glenn says, well, you can hit 3 out of the 4 notes, and it's close enough to get, and he's probably right.
Nobody's right.
I've bent on that a little bit. But to play an E minor 7th or an A minor 7th on, that's not one. That might be.
It's getting close.
There it is.
I got a chord chart.
Yeah. That's A minor 7th right there. 4 notes, 4 straight. Yeah, there's a chord. There's A minor 7 right there, by God. I didn't have it right either. To do that on a 3-string, you can get close. And often maybe you can get close enough. Jazz chords. Yeah. Once you have 4 strings, it's a much better thing. Now this kit, this Tupelo tenor kit, 23-inch scale means you can make some reaches on it. Sometimes you got to get that pinky finger out there to hit it. That's not a chord. To hit a note, like on a 25.5-inch scale, like a standard Fender scale, man, unless you got some monstrous hands, my hands are pretty good size, but some of those stretches just aren't really effective to hit quickly while playing. Yep. So 23-inch scale, little shorter scale, easier to hit some of those. Cool thing is, this kit, it's going to come with the Cigar Box Guitar Open G, GDGB strings. You could string this up. I saw someone, Nick mentioned DGBE tuning, also known as Chicago tenor. That's what that little Jamboni there is. That's like the 4 highest pitch strings of a 6-string guitar. So if you already know 6-string guitar chords, you can play a lot of them in 2-finger or even 3-finger versions on that tuning. You can do Irish tenor, GDAE. I see Jim Morris out there, back porch banjos. He knows about all these different tunings. And, you know, very versatile. So complexity, versatility, takes a little bit more to learn. Now, I'm going to play a song after this point. I came into 4-string just a couple of weeks ago, treating it like an extension of a 3-string. It's basically the 3-string, G, D, G, with that B thrown in there. I'm like, well, I can use everything I already know and just kind of modify it a little bit and treat this as an extension of that. I learned, no, approach it like a whole new instrument, a whole new tuning. It's not an extension of anything. It's its own beast. Learn it as if you're learning a new instrument. And since I realized that, it has helped me because the chord forms, yes, some of them are similar, but it's really getting used to where the notes are, not going up that high G string to hit some of those notes, instead going up to the high B. Approaching it like a whole new instrument is the best way to do it. So, all of that being said, I'm working on the tablature, converting Amazing Grace and Battle Hymn of the Republic and My Country 'Tis of Thee and Ba Ba Black Sheep, and working through my list of tablature to get the first songbook out. Here's one I haven't yet done, but I'm looking forward to it. One of my favorite spirituals. Fortunately, easy to play, easy-ish, on both the 3-string and the 4-string cigar box guitar. Nearer, My God, to Thee. So I've been spending an hour or more every day working on the tab, but just noodling around, getting my fingers and my ears and my brain used to where the notes are on here, and where to hit them, and where the fingers go, and being able to hit the chord forms quickly and naturally. It takes practice. Any of this, to get good at it, does take practice. You know, you can even moving the one finger around, like you gotta practice that. You gotta get used to where it goes, hit it, holding all 4 strings down cleanly and smoothly so you get nice clean tones. It does take practice, but definitely practice, work worth doing, without question. I'm having fun with it, working through, converting this tablature. Even the tablature, having that high B string up there, there's a lot of songs where I wanted to tab out a higher version, but you'd have to go so far up the neck on the G that you have on the 3-string, but having this higher B string up there, I can do high versions of songs I wasn't able to do before. So yeah, some new, it's not just taking the old songs and mashing them into a new format. There's new arrangements of a lot of songs. So, Rob Van Horn asking what strings. We're going to be supplying nickel wound electric guitar strings on these. Of course, the kit is going to come with a chrome lipstick tube pickup. You can see it mounted in there. All pre-wired with the volume and output jack. It comes with all the hardware you need. And this is another one in our series of what Shane calls dining room table kits, where you don't need a saw, you don't need to do any heavy cutting or routing or anything, just a small hand drill, some clamps, and a couple of screwdrivers is all you need to put this together. Glenn, you put this together this week, and I thanked him for getting it done so quick, and he's like, well, I probably took longer than it
took longer than I should have, but
it came out great, sounds great. And we're leaving the bridge, it's a laser cut bridge, floating bridge on here, leaving it a little high, so that if you want to play it with a slide, you can. But if you don't intend to ever use a slide, you can just file it down a little bit. I'm going to try to do a little slide work on the Gitty Gang theme song on the way out today. We'll see how that goes. I'm not much of a slide player, but
yet
I'm going to try. And Shane's right, the lipstick tube was his suggestion. This kit, I intend to have the string packs for the different tunings, whether you want to string it low and play the blues on it, or you want to do it Irish tenor or whatever. It's going to be very versatile, and it's just one of quite a few kits we've got coming down the pike. I don't want to confuse anyone, but you know, I just got a little something right here. So a lot of kits coming down the pike built around this concept. So stay tuned.
They can look a lot like that one behind you if you really want to put the effort in.
Well, yeah, this is how it comes, in a blank slate. You can decorate it, you can wood burn it, you can do all sorts of stuff. If you were watching 2 weeks ago, you know that I rolled this little baby right here out with a tobacco burst image of Muddy Waters there on the soundboard. Try to keep the glare off of him. This was the first prototype that I built to prove the concept. So yeah, it's really a blank slate. This is just some dark ebony stain on there, and then of course the top is printed with a fancy pants printer, but wood burn it, stain it, all sorts of great stuff. Does it gent? Of course it does, Henry. I'm genting right now, if that's how you pronounce it.
Very nice.
So yeah, all right. We've got a customer video right now from Chris W. We're going to show you, and then when we come, doing some awesome playing on it's like a 3-string.
4.
4, see?
He's
he's
a
okay.
madman.
He's okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then when we're back, we'll have Walk Corner for you, folks. And now, here's Glenn Watt.
Hey, Chris W., if you're out there and you see that, I just want to say thank you for submitting yet again another awesome video. So it's great to see videos from all of you that have taken the time to do that. I think William Edward White's been out there today, and
I just wish it was longer.
Yeah. And so feel free to, feel free to submit your videos, please, and thank you, because we love sharing them here. Up first, here at Walk Corner, we have a guitar from Rick. I won't give you the last initial because I don't have one. Rick made a ZZ Top inspired guitar. Loving the I want to say audacity, just the gumption it takes to make such a outlandish and awesome looking guitar. And on it, I'm proud to say that Rick, I think that entire thing is actually Gitty parts, but I'm proud to say that he put a gold enclosed single coil pickup on there with a 3-string hardtail bridge. And maybe some of you don't know, we actually have pickup surrounds or pickup mounting rings that he actually used on this one and painted it white so that it matches the body. And I think he did an outstanding job. I just love it for the flair of it all, and for the attitude and the personality that it takes to do such a thing. So thank you very much, Rick.
Possibly ZZ Top inspired.
Did I not say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did.
All right.
Did he?
All right, ZZ Top.
I'm gonna shut up now.
And I would like to cite a song title by ZZ Top, but there's really none that are appropriate. They're just all so ZZ Top-ish. But nonetheless, up next we have for you today Bill N. This is nice. Bill N. Who, and I wanted to include this picture because I think it's just rad. I personally haven't seen anything like this. It's rad, and I'll give you a little bit of a story on it. But this is actually a box, a section out of a Ferrari engine that was shipped overseas from Italy to a racetrack, and Bill actually got a hold of it. So he writes, "My uncle gave me a shipping crate he got some 20 years ago while visiting the Ferrari pits at the 24-hour sports car race at Daytona. I don't know if any of you all been down to Daytona. I hear it's a great time. We actually have a small racetrack up here in New Hampshire, but I'm getting off track. The crate was given to him by the Ferrari team after an engine was shipped to them at the track from the factory in Italy. The crate sat in storage for years and termites had a feast, but I was able to salvage this small portion, which is really cool. I decided to build the guitar as a gift to my uncle in appreciation for all the years of letting me mooch off him at different racetracks, which means he shows up with a really nice motorhome and Bill just showed up. And I think that is a great relationship to have, Bill. You should continue that one. We displayed the guitar in the windshield of the motorhome recently at the 12 Hours of Sebring Sports Car event. We received lots of thumbs up and a lot of double takes. So he's just psyched to have it, psyched to give it to his uncle, and he says it sounds great, and I just think it's really cool because I've never seen a soundboard that was cut out of a car engine, let alone Ferrari car engine crate. So good stuff, Bill, and thank you very much for sharing it. I just really think that's good, unique stuff. Next up, we have Eric P. Speaking of unique stuff, and part of the reason I wanted to include this is just because the level of care that it goes into taking to cut those little hummingbird sound holes, and I'm confident those are cut by hand. There's no mention of CNC. There's no mention of anything like that. Like, those are some. I just super impressed by it. And Eric, for whatever it's worth, Eric P, who submitted this, Eric P writes that it's made from an antique solid wood cigar box using Shane Spiel tuners, piezo pickup, and volume control from CB Gitty. Eric P actually, when he submitted this photo, submitted several other photos of about 10 builds of his. They're all intense and all awesome. If you haven't seen them, they were posted today on the CB Gitty Crafter Supply Facebook page. Every Friday we're posting photos that you submit. Hopefully you get to, and it's in a little album called Gitty Friends, and hopefully you get to see it. If not, you should go like that album. Not now, after the show. Like that album so that you can continue to see those as they pop up in your feed. Next up, we have from our good friend from up north, Marty Tauber. Marty and his Bob Marley, excuse me, it took me a second there, Bob Marley Woodburn. Now, some of you probably out there know Corb Cole out there in the Cigar Boss guitar community does a really amazing wood burning work. This, Marty, I think rivals that. Just really intense stuff, and I love the fact that you have your own wicked bucker on that. I see, however, there's a hardtail bridge knot from Gitty, but I approve because it is a Sir Rusty Taylor. So all stuff told, that's good stuff. That's actually a box kit. One of our box kits, an 8x10 box kit, that box jointed kit that Marty gets from Ben, and did a nice job wood burning on there. And I just wanted to highlight the fact not only that it's a wicked bucket pickup on there, but it's just really awesome handcrafted stuff. Just like the hummingbird sound holes, just like the ZZ Top guitar, just really lots of unique handcrafted stuff. And I'm really proud of y'all for submitting it to us so that we can share it here. Next up, we have from our good friend Dutch. Dutch got his, what is that, Dia de la Muertes? Day of the Dead skulls, the sugar candy skulls that you see out and about. They're not just sugar candy skulls, but the Dias de la Muertes. I'm sorry, I'm murdering it. But this is from Dutch, and he writes, seeing the picture of the sugar skull on the internet, I figured it would look like may be good as a CBG box top, so I tried several methods of transferring the image to the wood, found one that worked, and the little lady, his wife, the little lady, upon seeing it, stated that it was hers, and will even learn to play it too. What else could I say, writes Dutch, and I would say the only thing you say is yes, dear. But that being said, he used Gitty parts and made a beautiful guitar, and and he actually used those really big brass trunk corners that we carry, which I think are really cool. So they really set off the skull nicely. So thank you very much, Dutch, if you're out there. Thank you very much for submitting such really cool stuff. And next up we have, I'm almost to the end here, Howlin' Ron. Howlin' Ron is, as is written here, of North Cut Designs. With it again, North Cut Designs with his latest build. Ron builds cigar box guitars, dulcimers, strumsticks, along with custom wood furniture in his North Cut Designs studio in Williamstown, Kentucky. This little red CBG that he's just is his most recent build. Has a sweet voice acoustically, but is also electrified with a Gitty piezo. And I just really wanted to include it. I know you can't see the build so much, but because it's Ron. And although we don't have like a deep personal relationship with Ron, he's a friend of ours and a customer, but you know, having pictures of you all so that to share here, you know, in this platform, you know, doing the things that you love is really important to us. So I appreciate you sharing that with us, Ron. Thank you very much. And last up, we have Cut Bait Jim. And Cut Bait Jim was at a, he writes, I was very honored to be invited to the No One Forgotten Festival in Stephenville, Texas. Honoring military and first responders. It was a cold and rainy day, but they still came out, all the people there, that is. It was a great show, thanks to Gitty and all the crew. And again, I wanted to share this with you because it's one of you, and I don't know, maybe Cut Bait Jim isn't on social media sharing pictures of himself, but he was proud enough and brave enough to share it with us, so I'm happy to share it here. And the other reason is because he's at his booth selling his cigar box guitars, because we are coming, and this is down in Texas, so it's I guess a decent time of year, although it was cold and rainy this day, but as we're getting warmer here, folks, you know that it's building season, it's festival season, and you're going to be needing to start looking into selling some stuff outdoors to the great masses of people that want to see your work. So I just want to say thank you to Cut Bait Jim. It's good to see you, and I hope that you had a good day out there at an awesome, no one forgotten festival. So that's good stuff. And that's Walk Corner.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Glenn. And he's right. You know, festival building season, gearing up for the summer festival season. This is the time to be, you know, if you don't already know, researching what are the street festivals, street fairs, blues, music fests in your area. You know, craft fairs and such, the county fairs, state fairs, all that stuff. Help to get out there, you know, make a little money, sell some of your builds, spread the word about homemade instruments and cigar box guitars. Yeah, very cool stuff. Yeah. I just wanted to say, you mentioned Daytona Beach, Florida. Happens to be where Mrs. Gitty, Mrs. Gitty Baker, is in Daytona Beach right now, visiting with her mother. Flew down there yesterday. Possibly tuning in, but I doubt it. She's out on the street. Oh, God.
It's a good beach to be on.
Out on the beach, drinking a pina colada, enjoying the sun. And up here, it was spitting snow earlier. Here in beautiful Seacoast, New Hampshire.
Now it's just raining.
Yeah, it's no accumulation.
I love the rain, though.
Yeah, we're through the worst of it, thankfully. What else? There was something else I wanted to mention. The Woodburn box, Marty Woodburn, Bob Marley. That's another good thing about these blank slate kits or box kits that we sell. This nice light Arctic birch plywood really takes wood burning well, and then it shows up because it's such a dark contrast against the white wood. So it was really cool to see. Good work to everyone in there. Oh, Jim Burt talking to his travel agent. Time to get out and about. Oh, tour the greenhouse. Yeah. Oh, buddy. You'd fit in right there, Jim Burt. It's down at the greenhouse on Sunday. I was playing my Irish tenor banjo along with two of the sons of Tommy Macomb, Connor and Shane. They were on guitars. I was on the banjo. It was so packed and so loud. There's two doors into the greenhouse. There was one point where it was so packed, somebody pushed their way into one door and somebody fell out of the other one. It was that full in there. And so loud, I'm holding my banjo like this. Couldn't hear my own banjo. Let me tell you something. That's loud.
That's loud.
That's loud. All right, this next song is not loud. I'm going to play this 4-string. The only way to learn to play something is to force yourself to do it. If there's mistakes, there are mistakes. We're going to do Country Roads by John Denver. Glenn Watt on the 2-string, a G bass. Who was that G bass named after, Glenn Watt?
Gitty.
Oh, I thought it was Glenn.
I don't think so.
Well, it started with, you know, the classic Fender, was it Fender? P bass?
P bass.
So, all right, let's do a play on that. And G for Gitty, or
I think it's Glenn, because, you know, he's the poster guy for it. He's got it up there.
We need to work harder on poster guys.
Posters. All right.
You know, you got
here we go.
3 choices for poster guys in this company, and you 2 are mostly it. So.
All right, we're going to sing a song now, folks, before it gets any deeper in here. I didn't wear my boots. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home. Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, a teardrop in my eye. home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down country roads. I hear her voice in the morning now, she calls me. Radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down country road. Yeah, take me home down country road. All right. Yeah, Jim says that's a state song. I guess it should be. West Virginia. Something. There it is. I missed a couple. Missed a couple. You saw I was really having to pay attention. That's because I'm still actively learning how to play 4-string. Learning the chord forms, getting used to making those changes. Takes time, but definitely work worth doing, I think. So yeah,
Hey,
coming soon. I know we
I'm excited.
tried not to tease you with things you can't buy yet, but I just actually right before the show did the first revision of the how-to guide, how to assemble the Tupelo tenor 4-string box guitar kit. Writing the how-to guide is always for me the worst part of getting any new kit onto the market. You know, you come up with it, you do it, you build it, you play it, yeah, and then gotta tell other people how to do it now. Take all the photos and clean up the photos and diagrams and all that stuff. But yeah, good stuff on the market soon. So, did you see the new article? I think you did, considering you reworked it and posted it. Glenn has been going through the knowledge base of cigar box guitar how-to articles over at
CigarBoxGuitar.com.
and updating them, reformatting them, reworking them, because some of them are quite a few years old now. And he took one I wrote years back on how tips and tricks to eliminate buzz on your cigar box guitar. Like take your thumb off them strings. Maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't. There's a little bit of buzz there. When he touches the strings, they go away. That's because we grounded it to the strings. Now, there are other tips in there for when you finish your guitar and you plug it in and hey, you got that annoying hum, 60 cycle hum or whatever going on. Some good tips. And actually a customer, a friend sent in another one. David Mullins sent in a tip saying what he does is he gets some of that aluminum tape like you use for ductwork and such, lines the inside of his box with aluminum tape, making sure the edges all touch, wires that into his ground. It helps shield the whole thing. Nice. And helps eliminate buzz. So maybe we should add that to the article.
I like it. There was another suggestion as well, so yes. We'll put 2 up there. So good.
What was the other one?
Copper tape.
Copper tape, yep. I've seen people use aluminum foil in there. And the idea is that when you have a pickup, which is basically a magnet with a bunch of wire around it, you've got wires, components, a long cord going to an amp. The whole thing, the circuit, all working together can have some weird stuff happen. Stuff you don't want to happen because it causes sounds you don't want to come out of your amplifier. So there's all these tips and tricks and ways to avoid that. But I'll tell you what, there's an arcane element to it as well. Sometimes you've done it all and it just won't stop buzzing and you're like, what do I do now? That's a good question. But some good advice in this article that has been posted.
Absolutely.
I I think that's about all we got for you today. A few announcements, always best done to a rollicking bass line. There it is. So we got a bunch of Cigar Box Guitar festivals coming up. Talking about festival season, the first ever North Carolina Cigar Box Guitar Festival is scheduled down there in Greensboro, North Carolina for June 8th, I believe. The main Cigar Box Guitar Festival, organized by our buddy Marty Tauber, taking place up in Naples, Maine, right on Sebago Lake. Wonderful little, I don't know if I call it a resort town, but it's definitely a tourist spot in the summer right there on a beautiful lake in Maine. That's coming up. It's a weekend event, June 14th through the 16th. I might be heading up for that one. Marty's trying to talk me onto the main stage. I'm still not sure whether that'll happen, but I am still thinking about it. Rusty, remind me, when is the Georgia, I believe the 3rd or 4th annual Georgia CBG Fest? I see Rusty's still out there. He'll let us know exactly when that is. Then, of course, in August, we've got the Ozark CBG Fest, one weekend, then a couple weeks later, the 10th annual Pennsylvania. The Big Ten for Pennsylvania. Oh, also in late May, early June, I believe, that's when the Huntsville Cigar Box Guitar, all sorts of good stuff coming up. The Northwest Cigar Box Guitar Fest, Rusty's in Georgia is September, so a little bit later in the year. Chicago is on the docket sometime. Anything happening at Big Al's Pub and Grubberia?
I didn't check. I'm a terrible human being. It's all right.
That week where we had Big Al and Fat Al, that was a goat show.
That was a big week.
All right, so I got a slide on here. Let's see if I can not screw this up. Gonna put it on the pinky. Should have added some spacers in it. Ah, quit your whining, Nancy. All right. No, you don't have to go slow. See? Maybe you should go slow. Well, it's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Station TV. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. And we came to you live from CB Gitty. Here we go. Yeah. That was right. Well, we come to you live very nearly every Friday afternoon at 2. Say we come to you live every Friday afternoon at 2. And if we don't see you, don't know what we'll do. Now try it again here. Well, all you need is a stick-up box and some strings. And all you need is a stick-up box and some strings. Well, you put them all together, you know she's gonna ring. You got this. It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
It's the Gitty Gang Show. Oh, oh.
Gitty Gang Show.
It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. All right, folks, we will hopefully see you again. Hey, Glenn Watt off all next week, so whatever is happening, we don't know yet, but it's going to be
wattless. But tune in anyway. I'll see you later.
Low wattage.
Low wattage.